What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Be a part of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Blake Snell, who had 7 Ks and 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 3 hits. He had these filthy curveballs, including this backdoor curveball, and his upper 90s fastball working. Blake Snell can sometimes be a roller coaster, but this time we got the upward trend. He faced Braxton Garrett, who is really good himself, with 7 strikeouts and 5 1/3 innings, giving up only 2 hits and 1 run. Garrett had these changeups and 2-seamers, and could have had an 8th K, but this was called a ball. Jaime Barria had 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up only 1 earned run, thanks to his sliders and changeup. And he faced Lance Lynn, who was pretty terrible, giving up 8 runs in 4 innings, but had these fastballs, including the sinker. Zach Eflin had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, thanks to his sinkers and curveballs. He battled Justin Steele, who had this cutting fastball on his way to 3 perfect innings with 1 strikeout. Unfortunately, Steele left the game with forearm tightness, so hopefully he's okay. Tommy Henry was outstanding yesterday with 7 strikeouts in 7 innings, giving up no runs and only 2 hits. He had this nasty changeup slider and painted curveball. Alek Manoah had 2 Ks in 4 innings, giving up 2 runs, and had this backdoor 2-seamer. He faced Julio Teheran, who was really good, giving up no earned runs in 6 innings, but he had no Ks, so I have to show this comebacker. While it's effective, getting weak contact just isn't as sexy as a strikeout. Dane Dunning had 6 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, thanks to his sliders, including this back foot slider, literally adding injury to insult. He also had this slider off the plate that got Jake Marisnick going no, no, no. Unfortunately for him, Chad Fairchild, home plate umpire, said yes. Dunning also had this painted 2-seamer and this changeup, and he faced Joey Wentz, who had 5 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, giving up only 1 run, thanks to his curveballs and cutters. Jared Schuster had 1 K in 5 1/3 innings. Thanks to this fastball and backwards K, he faced James Caprillion, who had 4 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this slider and sword. Carlos Carrasco had 4 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run, and relied on his dirty curveball and split changeups. He outdueled Aaron Nola, who had 5 Ks in 6 innings, but gave up 4 earned runs, and had this knuckle curve. Nola's ERA this year is now 4.70. Mitch Keller had 8 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 4 runs. He had these wicked sweepers, including this beautiful backdoor sweeper, and had really good fastball velocity with his fastball up to 99 miles an hour, and he painted with this 2-seamer. His stuff was really good and definitely better than the 4 runs he gave up. Keller outdueled Alex Wood, who gave up 6 runs in 4 1/3 innings with 4 strikeouts, including 1 on this slider. Luke Weaver had 5 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these dirty changeups and cutter. He faced off against James Paxton, who was really, really good with 8 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up only 1 run on 4 hits. The Big Maple had a solid fastball, touching 98, and he threw a lot of elevated fastballs, as well as cutters and knuckle curves. Here's an overlay of Paxton's elevated fastball and curveball, and you can see how well those pitches work together. They look virtually identical, and that curveball just dives out of the swing path. Another really solid outing by the Big Maple. Louie Varland had 5 Ks in 7 scoreless innings, and relied on his painted fastball, slider, and cutter. A really good outing from Varland. He outdueled Hunter Brown, who started off really good, striking out 5 hitters in the first 2 innings, but then struggled with command. He ended up going 4 2/3 innings with 8 Ks, giving up 5 runs, relying on his upper 90s fastball, these hammer knuckle curves, and dirty splitter. In what turned out to be the premier matchup of the day, Clarke Schmidt faced off against George Kirby. And what a pitcher's duel it was. Clarke Schmidt had 7 strikeouts in 5 2/3 scoreless innings, giving up only 3 hits. He had these vicious knuckle curves and got a sword on one, as well as these filthy sliders and cutters. A really dominant outing by Clarke Schmidt. And he battled yesterday's filthiest starter of the day, George Kirby. George Kirby had 7 strikeouts in 8 scoreless innings, giving up 3 hits and no walks. He is averaging .8 walks per 9 this year. Absolutely incredible command. Look at this chart of Kirby's pitches on the edge of the plate for this game. He was freaking living there. And Kirby's not some soft-tossing command guy. His fastball was up to 99 miles an hour, and he blew Aaron Judge away with this fastball right down the dick. He was sitting upper 90s all game. Kirby's got Greg Maddux-type command with 10 miles an hour faster velo. And look at this beautiful front door painted two-seamer. Also very Maddux-like. And Kirby's best pitch of the night might have been this vicious barrel-locking knuckle curve. After all those fastballs, that knuckle curve is unhittable. And here's an overlay of Kirby's fastball and that knuckle curve. And you can see why your barrels might be locked if you saw that knuckle curve after a fastball as well, because it tunnels with the fastball and then dives. Or maybe your barrels would have been unlocked, but that's a bad visual. Some thought the Mariners may have been tipping some pitches, so you can see what Kirby did here to combat that, with him butterflying his glove to prevent the runner on second from relaying his grip to the dugout or hitter. I talked to George Kirby about his front door two-seamer, and because you subscribe to this channel, here's that conversation.
Do you ever laugh? Or you ever like internally? I know the dugout's probably laughing. It's like, you're like, man, that was pretty nasty.
Yeah, I had one that I remember. I threw it to Nathaniel Lowe. It was like one of my first starts back after I got sent down for 2 weeks. And it was the first time I actually, trusted it and threw it inside, and it moved a lot, and I struck him out. And I just looked at Cal. I was like, holy crap, like we got to keep doing that. So, but yeah, it was fun.
Now on to my filthiest relievers. Hayden Wesneski came in relief of Justin Steele and had these 6 sweepers. Huascar Brazoban had these changeups. Johan Ramirez had this bend-the-knee slider. Brooks Raley had this 6 sweeper and changeup. Tyler Rogers had this fastball and frisbee slider. Justin Topa had this nasty sinker. Steven Wilson had this sweeper. Trevor Stephan had this dirty splitter. Michael Fulmer had this 6 sweeper. Hunter Harvey had this 100-mile-an-hour heat and slider. Sir Anthony Dominguez had this 99-mile-an-hour flames. Jason Adam had these wicked sweepers and changeup on his way to 3 strikeouts. David Robertson had this wicked knuckle curve, and I love this home plate view because you can see how much it breaks, and also had this cutter. Alex Lang had these hammers, as you got to respect that turtleneck. Brock Stewart had these dirty cutters and sweepers. Clay Holmes had these vicious sinkers and sliders. Look at the movement on these. And then I overlaid his sinker and slider, and you can see why that combination would get a whiff. These pitches tunnel together so long, and then they diverge at the last second, meaning it's really hard as a hitter to distinguish these. Camilo Doval had this overpowering 102-mile-an-hour heat. Luke Jackson was back from Tommy John. Welcome back, Luke, and had these sliders. Trevor Richards had these alien changeups. These are really high spin rate changeups, and are second only to Devin Williams' airbender in RPMs. And my filthiest pitches from a reliever yesterday is a tie between Tucker Davidson and Emmanuel Clase. Tucker Davidson had this absolutely amazing teleporting slider. This thing breaks all rules of physics. A pitch should not be able to disappear and then reappear just as a hitter's trying to swing. Tucker Davidson is freaking David Copperfield. Forget checking Davidson for foreign substances. We should check him for a magic wand. And lastly, Emmanuel Clase had these obscene sliders. They also don't look real, but Clase didn't need a green screen to accomplish this movement. And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. Some quick thinking here by Vlad Jr. You can't get the ball out, so throw the whole freaking glove. What is up, everybody? I've got some good news for you. Today is a 30% Pitching Ninja Profit Boost token from FanDuel. You can use this Profit Boost token on any straight MLB bet either today or tomorrow, and it'll up your payout by 30%. I would use mine on a player performance double for Framber Valdez to have 6 Ks or more and the Astros to win today. My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start with Tanner Bybee for 6 Ks or more, then take Hunter Green for 6 Ks or more, and top it off with Framber Valdez for 6 Ks or more and the Astros to win. What would your picks of the day be?